Thank you very much for joining us for an episode of Film Club. I'm one your host, Andy Harrison. To my right, as always, Danny Dalton.
Hello.
Don't have any time for your shenanigans this week. Every single week in Film Club, we invite you along to watch film with us. We dive into some cinema's best before meeting back here to talk it out. Andy, what have we been watching this week?
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. What's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind about?
It's about a couple who meet each other and they're like, oh, I might know you. Then suddenly time reverses back and it turns out that they actually were previously together and they were happy, but they're also sad.
Well, you don't know that.
I think that's what it is. That's what I think.
No, you do. So you're right, but you don't know that going into the film.
Fuck's sake. There's a couple that are together, they're not happy, but they're happy, and then suddenly they find out that that she took her memories away from him. One day she didn't recognise him, memories got took away. Then he's like, a bit bitter, he's like, no, I'll do the same because I can't live like this. So they take his memories away, then he kind of goes through all these memories and it kind of like all goes together like that. At the end, he kind of tries to remember and she says, meet me at so-and-so. And then it goes back to the first scene in which is actually them two getting to know each other. And then obviously it escalates a little bit more. Like, it's not escalated, it moves a bit further past the start point in which they actually listen to their own confessions before they got memory wiped. And so you actually realise that the start scene is at the end.
Yeah, which is like amazing. One of the things I love about this film straight out of the gate is the structure of it. The fact that because it opens where the audience assumes that you're at the beginning of the story, turns out you're close to the end of the story, and because of that, it causes some weird inconsistencies, like when Elijah Wood turns up, and you're kind of starting to guess, like, is he her ex? Like, you're starting to think, why is he mind wiping him? Like, is he doing this? Is he forcing this mind wipe on him to try and like make him forget her so he can get back with her and stuff? Turns out that's not the case at all. He actually that's actually happened before the point at which you first seen Elijah Wood. It really screws with you, and the first opening of this film confuses you a lot as a viewer, which kind of confuses you in a good way. It pays into the way in which these characters are feeling having had their minds wiped.
Yeah, so as you can probably tell by the way it's hard to describe, if you've seen one of our previous episodes, we did one called Being John Malkovich. Now, they've both written this, and Being John Malkovich by Charlie Kaufman.
Charlie Kaufman.
Who is a genius when it comes to just fucking with your mind.
So good. Have you seen Adaptation?
I still need to watch it.
Love Adaptation. It's one of the most weirdly, just subtly intricate scripts you can imagine. And again, he just shows here that he's got this way of adapting the human mind and the process in which you develop those thoughts onto film. It's so good.
Well, it was. I must admit, okay, so I did like this film, but I struggled at the start, and I think it's a bit like with Being John Malkovich. You had a bit of humour to help you through the start part where it was quite slow paced, and then it kind of spirals down into a bit of fucking what the hell.
Very different directorial style as well.
Yeah, because it's Spike Jonze, wasn't it?
And this is Michel Gondry.
Right. So with this at the start, it was very slow. After that first scene, it was very slow, and I was finding myself not hard to get into it. I was finding myself hard to keep myself interested in the most politest respect. Sometimes films do that. You kind of zone out a bit, and I was finding myself doing that.
Yeah.
And then it's when he starts getting his mind wiped that all the memories start to intermingle, and he starts meeting her and taking her to new memories. The ones where the kid, and I was laughing out loud at the film, which I don't do often. I don't normally laugh out loud to a film. And I was really, really thoroughly enjoying it, and this exploration of his mind and trying to get her back, and the way he's masturbating and his mum comes in, I was laughing at that.
I love when he's doing it and he's like, I'm not enjoying this either.
But I need to do it. So fucking funny. And then it starts really gripping you like this, and then you got the other aspects of it. You got Elijah Wood just being a complete total creep, Mark Ruffalo just being a kind of a weirdly innocent kind of guy. He's not necessarily weird, but he's just a bit kind of...
Probably the youngest I've seen Mark Ruffalo play.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen him play anything younger than this. I always think of him as sort of Hulk age, Bruce Banner age.
And you got Kirsten Dunst, who's she comes across this kind of confident, this cute little confident girl, a bit like... What was that film we watched? The Station Agent. Do you remember The Station Agent? And the librarian, the girl.
Yeah.
Is it Carey Mulligan?
It wasn't.
No, Michelle. It's Michelle Williams.
Yes.
She reminded me a lot of her. So in this, Kirsten Dunst's character reminds me a lot of that. She's the receptionist. She's cute, a little bit like innocent, but she's like having a bit of a laugh. Turns out she's had her mind wiped, sorry, and she got with a doctor, like her boss before. It's a bit like, what the fuck, that came out of nowhere, sort of thing. So that kind of fucks with your mind again. And all this, the whole film goes around the basis of morality, ethics. You know, for example, Elijah Wood, he hits on the girl, then introduces himself and steals a line of
poetry.
No, fuck it. What's the main character, mate?
Oh yeah, you mean from
Joel?
Joel.
Yeah, who's obviously
but the thing that he wrote on the picture, he steals that line, doesn't he?
He steals a few lines.
Yeah, he does.
So he's like stealing the identity of Joel.
How much of a moron can you be, right? I'm sorry. Elijah Wood, you worked at the mind wipe place. You know that when someone gets a mind wiped, you have to get rid of all the memorabilia, the things you had with that person, otherwise it can break the mind wipe. So you thought you'd recite lines and take the exact same piece of jewellery that he was going to give her and give it to her anyway.
He's not the brightest of kids in this, is he?
Moron.
Not Elijah Wood. You're a sound bloke.
He's normally pretty good with protecting jewellery as well.
Sam, he'll be here. He'll come. There you go.
I'll save you, Mr. Frodo.
So you have all these elements that fuck it up, and it baffles you. So again, Charlie Kaufman, superb writing, well fucked up at the end, and I really enjoyed it. Just a bit of a slow start. So
it's definitely, it doesn't invite you in very pleasantly. It reminds me. Have you seen any of Michel Gondry's other films?
No.
It's an amazing film called The Science of Sleep.
Oh, it's on our list of films we need to do.
We will have to do it at some point. I hope people out there are excited to do The Science of Sleep because it's a great film. And it really starts to break down like the boundaries of reality and the boundaries of in the Science of Sleep it's about dreams, but here it's more about memories.
Yes.
And I love the way he just casually crosses the line all the time. He's like, oh, it's a dream. Oh, it's memory. Oh, it's real life. Which one is it? Up to you to figure it out. And like all the way through, that's causing like a fake drama, but not bad fake drama. It's causing like faux drama. It's causing dramatic tension where there doesn't necessarily need to be dramatic tension in the world of the characters, but it plays off so wonderfully.
There you go. So what's that? Science of Sleep, is it called?
Science of Sleep, great film.
Yeah. So there's that about the directing. Acting, I like it.
Great, like Jim Carrey for me. This is probably my favourite role I've seen him in.
Oh, The Truman Show.
Truman Show is a very, very good call.
And he had another film where, to be honest, even Yes Man's good. Because Jim Carrey is one of those actors for me where I struggle, like when we watch The Grinch, I struggle because he's got that Jim Carrey, like Ace Ventura, he's got the Jim Carrey, like this, all this kind of like his wacky goofiness. And it's really good because when it works, when he's like on a panel show and stuff like that, or not panel show, like a late night show, it's fucking hilarious. Then we like improvise and works with the crowd's class.
But here, when he plays it straight, it's so good.
It's like when he opens his eyes, he goes, "Oh my god, that worked."
Yeah,
and that's Jim Carrey, a tiny bit of his mannerisms.
It's such a small little piece, but like too much of that can be really obnoxious sometimes.
Yes, yeah.
It really can be.
He has a few good films. So the one I mentioned just then, which was Truman Show, really enjoyed him. Kick-Ass too.
Oh yeah.
That was really good.
He's in the number 23.
And
number 23.
What do you mean?
There's a film called Number 23.
Oh, sorry,
which Jim Carrey plays a kind of a straight. Right.
There's another one as well. I can't remember what it's in, but it's really cool to see Jim Carrey play these kind of more serious characters. And I think these two are his main examples: The Truman Show and Eternal Sunshine. I actually watched this before, and it didn't hook me. Maybe because I didn't pay more attention to it. Much like when we did, if anything, actually, it's like the last one being John Malkovich. Probably like a late night experience. I'm like getting a bit tired. My mind can't keep up with the mind fuckery. So I'm just like...
And there's a lot of mind fuckery.
So maybe, I think what happened is when I watched it last time, I didn't necessarily rate it massively. Whereas I watched it again, I was like, great. And then Jim Carrey, his performance last time, there wasn't anything memorable about it. When I watch it now, I was thinking, fucking awesome. And then you've got on the other side... I nearly said Kirsten Dunst. It's not Kirsten Dunst, I do apologise. Kate Winslet, of course.
Kirsten Dunst is in this film, but
yeah, she is. It's Kate Winslet. And again, she's amazing. I love the contrast. We'll just go on. Let's talk about her, and then let's talk about the chemistry. So she's amazing. How she has these highs, these lows. There's loads of emotion about it. There's loads of. She's what was the word they used? It begins with I, where she's like kind of quick to impulsive. She's very impulsive. And you see that in a character, and she loves it. Then she's like doesn't love it as much. He's like, she's a bit insecure, and she plays it off so well. And then you just have their chemistry together. That's just so lovely to see. Like the moments where they're angry, the moments where the best part is just obviously the first part's great, the chemistry in there. Like when they're on the train, that was fucking awesome. But when they're going through the memories together and how it goes to when the little kids, when he's under the table, and then she's like kind of helping him, and I just really, really loved that. And I thought these guys really know each other well, and it's really interesting because she essentially plays a memory, so it's his perspective of her, it's his
like interpretation of it.
Interpretation.
I mean, what's really nice as well is the film's never too worried about you liking this couple all the time. Like the first chunk of this film, first third of this film, she's quite an unlikable character in a lot of ways. And then over the course of it, she becomes more like three-dimensional. You start to see the positive side of her as well, because she starts off and she's quite like bitey, quite short-fused.
Yeah.
That kind of goes away a little bit as you start to see more of her, and you start to sympathise with her and her going through like the mind wipe and stuff as well. But yeah, together they play a really, really convincing sort of odd couple.
Very odd, very quirky.
One of the things which for me was like, I loved watching the guys work behind the camera, because like you can never figure out exactly how some shots are put together. Like I'm sitting there, there's like Michel Gondry took a lot of inspiration from when he worked on like music videos and adverts and stuff, and brought a lot of the weird techniques and effects and stuff he learned on that and started applying it to his films. And here you can really see it. There's the obvious ones where like he does weird things with focus and stuff when they're having an argument at the on the street, as they've got the flea market or something, and then you have the weird focus moments. But like the one that always sticks out in my mind is where she's gotten out the car and he's gotten out the car to go after her, and they're going down this street, and the camera pans over to the left and the street's looking one way, camera pans over to the right and suddenly it's the same end of the street, and you start to just get very disoriented. It makes a very convincing like dream-like memory.
So it's in the memory part?
Yeah, it's in the memory part.
Yeah.
But it breaks reality. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, how do you do that? Like, as a filmmaker, how do you achieve that with that sort of handheld, natural camera?
How do you reckon he did it?
I'm not sure. I'd love to find out.
Oh, he's baffled.
I would love to find
out.
It's really impressive.
I'll have to, when you watch these, I'll put them down there.
Question for you.
Go on.
How's the music?
Well, I really enjoyed it. I was just about to say next. I did it down here. John Bryan. I noticed it more and more throughout the film, and it was just all these different elements. And I was just going through it. It was like the dream sections. I was like, this is fucking awesome. This is really building the tension and the right parts. It's got some lovely kind of little quirks about it. And overall, I thought he did a fantastic job. So, just going through his list of films, he's done stuff like I Hat Huckabees. He's done Punch Drunk Love. It's supposed to be well received. I've not actually seen it myself because I think it's got Adam Sandler in it, hasn't it? Yeah, he's like Adam Sandler's a bit like Jim Carrey for me.
Jim Carrey's better than Adam Sandler.
Yeah, I agree. But I like samey. Like there's a point where they started playing the same role, and I was like held off.
But the thing is, Adam Sandler kept doing that, whereas Jim Carrey has stopped doing that.
I agree. Yeah, I did. So he did a cracking job there, and I was heavily pleased with it. What about you? What do you think about the music?
It didn't stick out to me, which is why I was asking you.
Really?
The only thing that stuck out to me was that weird bit at the end where they suddenly brought lyrics in. It plays out with an actual tune.
Do you not really? There's parts where it's like proper picks up the emotion.
In the moment, I probably did, but I think watching this, I was probably too busy going like, oh, how did you get that like camera shot? I was probably too busy like nerding out over that stuff.
Yeah, true.
And didn't actually pick up on the music, so I was curious.
It's quite funny how perspective is it. What did Natalie think of it?
She hasn't seen it. I watched it at work, so I didn't get to watch it with her. I think she might have seen it before though, so I will check.
I just want to see I'm confused. Because to be honest, I'd join her on that. I'd be like, Natalie, I am too.
This is the sort of film I think she'd just get.
You reckon?
I think it's the sort of film she'd get. I love, by the way, that this feels kind of like somewhere in the middle of like Memento meets...
Haven't seen Memento yet.
Scott Pilgrim. I'm aware Scott Pilgrim came out after this, but like, yeah, you can see the inspiration I think they probably took for that film. Yeah. I'm not just, for anyone who's about to say it, I'm not just talking about the changing hair with the romance.
So how would you say Scott Pilgrim? There's a film here, I'm just going to look through our list.
Like how they often, there's the subspace highway in Scott's brain that Ramon uses.
Oh, so where's the library for Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
See, I thought that was a really good thing. Right, there's a film that this reminds me of, and I can't think of it. So I'm going to quickly go through this and tell me something else what you liked about it.
Okay.
Because I need this.
Just while you're browsing through that.
Yeah, because honestly, and I was going through this film and I was thinking, that's that. But what was it?
I couldn't.
It's a film we've done recently as well.
I'm not in your head.
Oh, please go in my head. Right, this is going to be shit. No, fuck it. It'll come another time and I'll be like, fuck, I can't believe I never said that.
He'll text me at like 3 o'clock tomorrow morning and be like, oh, it was Beavis and Butthead.
Was it not at the bottom?
I don't know what it was. So anyway, that is Eternal Sunshine and Spotless Mind. You can let us know in the comments below what you thought of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, or you can hit us up on Twitter, as usual. We'll be back once again next week, where we'll be watching yet another film.
Which is supposed to be class, this one. So.
I've been very excited to see this film. If you have any interest in like camera nerdery, this is going to be perfect. It's Tree of Life.
Supposed to be. I can't find that film. I do apologise, but we'll come back and I'll probably say something in the comments.
He'll bring it back next week.
Yeah.
Bring it up next week. So you want to watch Tree of Life? Get watching. Come join the club and we'll see you guys next week.